Hello everybody, this is Diane, and I am working on some Traveler's Notebook journals. I'm really enjoying making these. They don't have a theme, they just have the color palette, and it's kind of neutral colors with some greens and oranges, or a teal. And I wanted to use a TLC Creates Vintage journal kit, TN kit that I've had for quite a while, and I've had it printed off for a long time, so I finally decided to use it, and it's just called Ledger, I believe. So I'm making 3 journals with it, and I think each journal has 4 of the TLC pages in it. So that means that there's 12 pages in that kit, unless I printed a duplicate or 2. So anyway, I pretty much have decorated the pages in one of the journals, and I just wanted to bring you along for this one. I don't know how prepared I am for it. I didn't do a lot of prep because this is one of those weeks where I just have to get in here when I can. I have the boys 3 days this week, including today. They are here today, and they are busy at school right now, so I told them I was going to do a video. So this is what I did on the cover of the one that I already decorated. I just did a collage with some fabric and a journal card, a used number stencil, and I added a little piece of metal there, a little thing that clips onto the edge, and then a rusty safety pin. And I also did a lot of collage-y type stuff inside, and just using up bits and pieces and things from my stash, so they could be a small version of a stash buster journal. So I'm just going to use this as a guide and go through another journal, see what we can do with it. So I'm going to use this one. What are these pages that I used? I don't remember. I don't remember where the pages came from. But I just went through my stash and pulled out pages that had colors that I thought went well with that Ledger digital kit. I did, before I turned the camera on, I did pull out a couple of fabric scraps. I did a number stencil again. And I pulled out this Tim Holtz old ticket for a journaling spot, and then I think I'll add this little piece that was stamped and cut out, and it was in my stash, it was in my binders. I have this little piece to put on the edge, and I have a couple of different sizes of paper clips. I did a lot of sewing on these, and I'm not at my sewing machine, so I'm not going to put the entire piece together. I did not sew the pieces to the cover, did I? No, I just sewed around them to make it look like I did. So I will sew around this, so I'm not going to put this on yet. I'll just sew around everything and then assemble everything. So I am going to put these in this little drawer here so I don't lose them, and we can move on to what we're going to do next. I thought I would just put something like this on the inside cover. I have my fan on. I hope that is not bothering the sound of this video. It's a lot quieter than my air conditioner, but I don't know what the air does to the speaker, you know, like the air from the fan. So we'll see. If this video sounds awful, I won't upload it. But I shut the door, and I had turned the air off, and I shut the door so I don't bother the boys, and it already, before I even turned the camera on, I was like, oh, I gotta have some air movement in here, because it's finally getting hot here in Pennsylvania. It's in the upper 80s this week. That's just a journaling card. I think it was from a Graphic 45 kit that I had. Then on the back cover, I'm going to use a vintage coin envelope. It's all rusty here. I'm just going to glue it down as a tuck spot and put a vintage tag in it. I have this vintage tag. I have several of these, so I am willing to use them for these journals. I hate giving up my vintage tags because they're kind of hard to find. You don't come across them that often. But I need to do something to this before I glue it down, so I'm going to ink it. I'm going to decorate it. So I have this little, it's like a half postcard, and I believe that's a digital. I know it's a digital, but I believe it's from the old design shop. So I use that and pull some ephemera out of this binder. I have these little tickets, and I have so many stamps, but I got these digital stamps that came with some other things, on a digital sheet, and I want to use them because I just want to use up some of my digis. So I have a bunch of stuff pulled out here that I can choose from. Let me pull these greenish tickets out too. I might like those. Sorry, I bumped you right on the chin. So we have that, and there's a little bus ticket, and it's a digital. Might be one of my digitals. Sorry. I think I'll try one of these green ones. So these came out of a book. My daughter was off yesterday, but they ended up having to come here yesterday anyway because they were having trouble with their internet, and boys can't do their school if they don't have the internet, so they had to come here. And she wanted to be with them because it was her day off, so they all were here. So my daughter and I were in here for some of the time, and I did the stenciling on these pages, but I don't get a lot done when I have company. And I have them today, and then tomorrow I'm going to spend a lot of time with my sisters again, because last month we went out for lunch for one sister's birthday, and this month it's another sister's birthday. Mine's not till August, and we already talked about going out for all of our birthdays, which we don't normally do, but maybe it'll be a new tradition for us. So I'm spending time with my sisters tomorrow, and then the next Friday I'll have the boys again. So I really haven't had, and Monday is my errand day. There, I like that. I'm going to ink a couple things. So I have not had a day where I could just work in here. Just work. That's okay. That happens. My son-in-law's schedule is changed temporarily, so they say it's temporary, but it's been maybe a month now with no sign that it's going to go back to what it was. So I think I'm going to be having the boys more frequently. And then I'll have Layla more frequently too when school's out, because I always have them more in the summer. But I mean, they're growing up. They're not, they're not like toddlers that need constant attention, but I still want to spend time with them, and I have to make them lunch and all that stuff. So it takes time away from here, but I am blessed. I know I am blessed to be able to help raise my grandchildren and enjoy spending time with them. I don't can't think of the word. Resent. I don't resent the time I have to spend with them. They are funny kids. So that's decorated. I'm just going to glue it on as a tuck spot. And I will put this tag in there. Something will go behind it eventually. So that's the cover. I haven't done the front, obviously, but we have things picked out for it. Next, I have one of the digital pages. This one has hands holding pens. Put all my little pieces out of the way. I have a mess here because I've just been pulling out ephemera and stuff from my stash. I want to dull down the color on these pages a little bit, so I'm just gonna rub some vintage photo over them. This is spiced marmalade, I think, and there's whatever the new rust color is from Tim Holtz, Distress Oxide, and mown grass. So this is the page that's done. I did the stenciling on all of the pages in all the journals, but you can see I added something to the front, a little ruffle there, and a little bit of stamping. So I'm just going to take a piece of this coffee dyed paper, that's not even tearing along the ruler. Let's try this one, see if this one works better. I think I got that metal one at a rummage sale after I had already purchased this one, but I don't like it as much as this one. The metal one is Fiskars, and this one is We Are Memory Keepers, I think. It just says We Are Tear Guide. And I'm just going to pleat it. And I'll take a piece of fabric. Oops, sorry. I'll bunch this up a little when I sew it on, and I'll sew this on top of it, and that'll be just a little ruffle embellishment on that page. But on this side, I just want to do a little stamping. So I will show you this set of stamps I'm using. It is from Stampin' Up, and it's called Very Versailles. It's not in the catalog anymore. It's, oh, I don't see a date on it. They usually have a date on their labels. It's a few years old, so you might be able to find it on Etsy or eBay or something. So it's called Very Versailles, as I said. I'm using the branches and this text for this page. Where'd the text go? Oh, here it is. These are very sticky. They changed it. They changed their, whatever they do to the stamps, so that they stick to the block, because the older ones do not stick to the block. But these are really sticky. They stick to everything. Oh, I didn't want that to be too dark. And I did not want to use that color. I was talking and not thinking. Okay, I have my Stampin' Up! Crumb Cake. That's what I wanted to use. So I'm going to stamp it here, and then stamp it, and it'll be lighter on the page. And then even lighter. And I'm going to use the same ink for the script stamp. It's handy that it sticks to my fingers. And then I don't want to stamp the whole piece down, so I just kind of bend it and stamp it. So the idea is to decorate the page and still allow you to write on it. This is a little darker than I would have preferred because of the, I don't know if that was the rust or the orange. I think that might be the rust. But you can still write on that. It's fine. And I will add this ruffle to it when I get over to my sewing machine. Let's see what's next. That's the cover for the new book. Next, I'm going to decorate a coffee-dyed scrapbook paper. This one goes on this. So this one has quite a bit going on also. I made a pocket with a book page and some strips of fabric and a postage stamp. I'm going to do the stamping before I add anything to the front, which would interfere with the stamping, make it bumpy. This time I'm using the script and this little border type of stamp. On this, after I made the pocket, I realized that there was a tear. It must have been a slight tear, and then the tear got bigger, so I just did a little collage there. Two kinds of paper and then stamped over it. But I don't need to do that on this one so far, unless I tear it. Okay, and then this one, right? Nope, that's not it. It's right here. And this one I will put on a block. Just stamp off the page. This little collage bit does add some interest to the page. So maybe I will put some on there. That green is just some of this painter's paper, painter's masking paper. I just had this little scrap of music paper, old music paper on my desk here. But I don't have any more right here. Here we go. It's from this stuff. I wanted these to be simple writing journals because of the paper, the digital paper just being ledger paper. Oh, this would be a good way to just make some very simple writing journals, but I got carried away and just kept wanting to add more and more and more stuff. So there's still lots of room for writing, but there's a lot of embellishment too. If I bumped the camera with my foot, I apologize. I think I did. I put glue on the side that I inked. Alright, now this side of the page, I will put a scrap of lace on that edge. This is why I have such a mess, because I'm using all kinds of bits and bobs. Just put a little piece up there. I'm going to tack it down with a little glue. So if I put a safety pin on it, it's just going to get stuck in the lace. And I will sew it on later. I'm using a brown thread, so I do want the threads for decorative touch. Now for the pocket. I have these book pages. I believe it's from a shorthand textbook. And I will take a scrap of what did I use? Cardstock? I think it was this actually. Just another scrap of coffee dyed paper. But I'll use the non-printed side. And I will cut this so it fits inside this paper. So I will mark it. I can't cut this with my paper cutter because the paper is too old and it just makes a mess of it. So I just marked and I will just cut and hopefully it'll be straight. I need it to be smaller though, so I'm going to cut inside the line here because I don't want it to be the same size. I want it to be slightly smaller. Let's see how we did. It's a little big. Okay, I'm going to sew that on when I get over to my machine, and I need some fabric strips. I do like to add a little bit of color into this neutral palette. Okay. Stick this down so the pieces don't get lost before I get to the sewing machine. And I will find a stamp. Sometimes I like to have everything planned out ahead of time and all you have to do is watch me assemble it. But sometimes I think it's nice for you to see me making the selection, doing the selection process. Tell me if I'm wrong. Oh, that's cute. It's got a cute little bear on it. This is a digital tag that I've had in my stash, so I put that in. And then this is from a Field Notes flower book. So I will find a tag. This one might be too big. Nope, I think it'll work. And this is a digital also, and that one is in one of my digi-kits because I actually purchased this tag at a flea market. You can't even shake the piece out. You actually have to get a pin and poke it out. It's such a pain. So it works nicely. It punches very nicely, but that is a pretty big flaw in that particular paper punch. That the little piece of paper stays right there blocking the hole so you can't see where you want to punch the next one. But I paid for it, I'm going to use it. This is a parking violation tag for a college campus, Alfred University. So that would be the tag that gets put in there. And I have a field notes book really close by. This is from a different book though. Hopefully it'll work. These are bigger pages. Except for a tree one. I like the colors on this one. I'll just fold it in half and it'll work. So that'll go in there. That is not this page. It is this page. For here, I used a vintage library pocket and a doily that I made with my Martha Stewart doily punch thingy. I'll find a vintage library pocket. And I had, when I rediscovered that doily punch when I was cleaning, I tried out all of the different designs that I have. So I have these all ready. I just want to pick one that I can use. This is for a French language book. And the first punch, or the first stamp, is 1982. It's a possibility. I think since this is a rather light background, we'll go with this one. So I just put it on there where I want it and then cut pieces off of the doily. and I can save that for some other collage. It's still subtle against that background. This one has bolder pieces to put the glue on. That one is a lot more intricate with narrower bits, so it took a long time. I used my art glitter glue with the really narrow tip for that one. And I just want to cover that part just to add some pretty paper there. I just erased that because some of that check mark might end up showing and I didn't want it to. Alright, I have some bits of Tim Holtz paper here. That's what I used here. Let's see if I can find one that I like. This one is some tickets. I like that one. It's almost the right size. I sure hope that the fan isn't messing this video up, because I would like to post it. Now this one came with this glued to it. I just pulled it off, tucked it in so you can write on the back of it. It was just a continuation of this. This started in 72 and ended in 89. So I'll have to put something else in this one. See if I have a vintage library card. Here's one. That's not actually a library card, it's the must return by, and this is dated 57 through 75. So this book wasn't that popular. But you can write on the back of it. I'm just trimming it where I cut it off of the paper it was glued to, so I'm just trimming it. So that's the paper from the book that it was glued to. There we go. I added this cute little sticker here. Let me see if I can find some more stickers that might be fun. It's another part of my stash I need to use. I have these really nice cardstock stickers that my friend Jill sent me a long time ago. I have used them, but I don't think about using them that often because I don't usually use stickers, and I don't have these where I can just see them and be reminded of them. Has to be something that'll show up against that. These are some stickers that I printed. I just printed these sheets onto sticker label sheets. So these are all stickers. Alright, I'm going to put these where I can access them later. And I guess I'll just use that for now. So that doesn't show up like the bright blue does, of course, but it still does show up and add some more texture and depth to that page. So I think this page is done. I'll just have to sew that lace down. Do we have time to do one more page? Oh dear. Just dropped all the pages for the book that's done. But I think they stayed together pretty well. Okay. So this one is just a little 6x6 page, and I just folded it. It does have a striped pattern, but it's copy dyed, so you can't see it very well. This one you can see better. Oh, I forgot. I sewed this to it, but I didn't glue this number down. It got caught in with the stitches, but not enough. And I think I had a little stamp I was going to put on there, a real postage stamp. So what I need to do here is just find something to sew onto this, and I have this little box that has all my squares and rectangles on there. And this number just came off of a scrap of Tim Holtz paper. Oh, I put it up here so I wouldn't lose it. All these little tiny numbers I'm cutting off it. And then this tab, Tim Holtz had a packet of stitched fabric pieces, which you can easily make yourself, but they were on really good clearance with the Halloween stuff at Joann's one time, so I bought them. Got them over here. And some of this one is felt, and it had this black square with the X in it. Some of them are canvas. So you can see the kinds of stitches. It would be so easy to just spend an hour or so making these and putting them in your stash. But you get quite a few, and I didn't pay a lot for them, so I don't think that was part of them. So if I have one that I could use for another tab, I like the felt tabs. I've got one more red one, so I can sew that to this. Or maybe I'll just glue it without going back and sewing it, because it already has stitching on it. And then just going to add these two little pieces, maybe look for a stamp, but I know I don't have much time left before my camera shuts off. So if the camera shuts off, I am going to just glue that on there for now, and then when the glue dries I will stitch down there for the decoration and add this number, and then I'm going to look through my stamps and maybe add a postage stamp to each of them. And I've got so many more embellishments to do in this journal, so maybe I'll have to do another video. This one has a butterfly. That one's pretty. A moth, I guess. It's from New Zealand. And this one is a rust color. Has a lady on it. It's French. I don't know what country that is, but it's got the neutral colors that I'm using, so I'm sure it will work for one of these. Whoops, that is sideways. So the moth is supposed to be sideways. You can have the letters the right way. So we're at almost 50 minutes and the camera didn't cut off yet. So that's good. Okay, we've got quite a bit done on the second journal. So I will do the sewing and I will repeat all of these steps that I just did for the third journal, and then maybe I will video the rest of it for another video. I hope you're enjoying seeing this. It's just so much fun to just grab stuff from my stash and just stick it in and glue it. I say that every time I do a journal like this. It is so much fun to do that. So I hope that you will also dig into your stash and just pull things out and put them to good use. Thanks for watching. Have a creative day today, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.